Hey, good morning, everyone. I am so glad you're watching this morning or watching later in the day. I hope you had a great weekend. It was good to see so many of you in worship and many of you online as well. Today is the beginning of yet another week and the start of a new series called Don't Shipwreck Your Faith. Why shipwreck? Why am I using that term? Well, shipwreck happens when an otherwise seaworthy vessel hits an obstacle, doesn't make it through a storm, steers in the wrong direction, and things like that. The idea is simple. A ship shouldn't end up in a wreck, right? If it does, something has gone wrong. So if it does end up in a shipwreck, something has gone wrong, either structurally, with the environment around the ship, or due to an operator error. What we're going to do is we're going to apply something similar to our faith. You've been given an incredible gift, the gift of faith. Now you attend to it, take care of it, and grow in it. Looking at it another way, some people start strong in the faith and then fade away. Yet that's not the goal. Faith shouldn't end in a shipwreck, and yet it sometimes does. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to explore why this happens. So I want you to listen to a parable from Jesus, which I'm going to put up on the screen and keep on the screen here for the rest of our study this morning. This is Luke chapter 8, verses 5 through 8, and this is the English Standard Version. It says this: A sower went out to sow his seed. And as he sowed, some fell along the path and was trampled underfoot, and the birds of the air devoured it. And some fell on the rock. As it grew, it withered up because it had no moisture. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up with it and choked it out. And some fell in the good soil and grew and yielded 100-fold. As he said these things, he called out, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Jesus explains a few verses later, and I would encourage you to read the whole chapter, that the seed is the word of God, and the birds, rock, and thorns represent the devil, shallow faith, and the cares and pleasures of his life. That's not the good soil, which produces a vibrant and fruitful faith. In other words, there are things in this life which can turn us from hearing and growing with the word of God. And this week we'll cover a few of them. Today, let's look at the idea of busyness, that busyness can shipwreck our faith. Jesus says this: as they go on their way, and this is in chapter 8, verse 14, a little bit after what I just read. Jesus says that as they go on their way, they are choked out by the cares and riches and pleasures of life, and their fruit does not mature. Now, busyness has always been a problem, but it's getting worse. In the 21st century, it's only gotten worse. We're constantly distracted. We're accustomed to being entertained, and our attention spans have grown short. We all carry around computers. There's phones. We've got these little handheld computers, and we have instant access to any kind of game, entertainment, TV show or movie, factual information. How often do we Google something we want to know? We've got devotionals, even church, on our phones, and it's hard. It's hard to get to this place where we just don't do anything. I mean, how often have you been in line at Publix or Walmart and you're idle for like 30 seconds, and so you grab your phone and you start surfing on it? I do this. I think you do as well. We've built this expectation that our minds are going to be occupied every waking hour. And this can lead us to abandon or shipwreck our faith. This happens in two stages. First, so many other things become priorities: sports, hobbies, work, working out, exercise, all good things, but all of them begin to crowd out our faith. Things like morning devotions, Bible study, small group, those take too much time. And then even that 1 hour on Sunday morning becomes optional and gives way to other activities. And the second piece of this, and this is where it hits hard, is we begin to doubt that we really need to get together, worship, study, otherwise devote ourselves to God. And yes, I'm speaking directly to some of you listening. Faith isn't a priority anymore. It's nice, but it's far down the list. Unless you have a major crisis or your life is threatened, you just really don't think too much about it. And this is a challenge for us pastors. As we look at the ebbs and flows of church attendance, the issue of busyness has always been there. COVID has simply shined a brighter light on it. COVID got people out of the habit of church. Now, they've rationalized that they can't go back right now. It's too dangerous. And if it is for you, I get it. I am in no way suggesting if right now you're homebound because you're truly at risk, I am not suggesting you do anything otherwise. Yet for others, other things have started to come back. Going out to eat, going to this hobby, or going to the beach, or doing this, that, the other thing. And I'm speaking to you directly. If you're doing other things but haven't ventured back to church, I challenge you to ask yourself, why? Why is that? Is it because you don't see value in it? It could be. And don't be surprised if you don't see value because you're not valuing it. I know that seems circular, but don't be surprised if you don't find value because you're not seeing value. And this is where the dynamic gets interesting. I've found in my life that the things I value I spend time on, and I spend time on the things I value. Are you tracking? The more I invest in my faith, which God has freely given me, God has freely given it to me, I didn't earn it. But the more I invest in that faith, the more I see the importance of it. If I don't invest in it, I shouldn't be surprised if I see less value or return, if it just doesn't seem that important or worthy of my attention. Faith makes sense of the world. It gives me purpose and understanding. Walking with Christ gives me a sense of peace and a strength I would never have otherwise. I have a calmness about my own mortality, and then a sense of focus for the years that I do have here. Like salt brings out flavors that we didn't know were there. So when you salt something, it will ironically bring out the sweetness or the sourness or whatever that was already there. In a similar way, faith brings out joys we didn't know were there. The challenge is, you've got to slow down. You've got to reset. Christ has to be at the center, and then the rest will fall into place. And you'll be amazed at the peace you experience, as well as the renewed joy you're going to find in other things. So these words aren't only for those who found themselves floundering in their faith or falling away. It's a heads up to all of us. We can be comfortable in our faith one moment and then fall away the next. The cares, riches, pleasures of this world can sneak up on you. So this is something for you to think about, for all of us to think about as we start our week. I hope you have a great Monday, and I hope that maybe you'll share this video if you find it helpful, or if you think it might speak to others. In the meantime, think about this, pray about it, look at your schedule, look at your life, ask yourself, has the busyness of my life begun to crowd out the things that really matter? Anyway, have a great day. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.